All right. So sometimes I go live here. Sometimes I go live at my Facebook page, The Simplifier. So if you are seeing it here on my profile, be sure to find me at fb.com/ The Simplifier. That will alert you of when I go live there. So bottom line is it was sweaty hot. I am sweaty, drenched this morning, walking 2 miles to the beach, walking back. And on the other side, the sun was beating me down. So I actually crossed into the crosswalk here, and funny enough, behind me is where I have been recording videos with Mike Filsame, John Cornetta, Rich Sheffrin, Joe Jablonski, Donna Fox, and others in the studio behind me, Groove headquarters. So the Grooveplex is behind me. So you'll see videos below here on my profile or at the Simplifier Facebook page with those videos or pictures prior to us going live, actually. And when you go to that URL, you'll be able to tap into the recordings of those, which are highly valuable for any entrepreneur, any business owner. Lost connection there. And there's more to come. So there's more trainings coming Monday and Tuesday. All you got to do is follow that link. It's in the post below, but I'll give it to you right here. tombeal.com/groovy. TOMBEAL.com/GROOVY. Okay, so connecting. I think I know why, because it's trying to pick up the Wi-Fi and I'm far outside. But anyhow, it just so happened I crossed the street sweating, and I'm like, you know what? I'm starting a video, and it happened to be right outside the group flex. So now let's get to the question, and let's get to walking back home so I can take a shower, take a moped ride, and enjoy this amazing Sunday. So there is actually just a couple I just passed back there, close friends of mine that I met on the morning walk. It's amazing how many awesome people you meet on a morning walk when you do it consistently. So I met them on my way back. I had another chat with another gentleman. We crossed paths right at that corner and walked down on the way to the beach, having a chat. I got to learn more about who he is and what he does. Super amazing dude. But I met this couple a long time ago, years ago, and we got right to the deep conversations. We got right to God. We got right to the important conversations in life. And come to find out, yeah, he and his wife are extremely knowledgeable about the Bible, about God, and have opinions that many people aren't aware of and things like that, referencing the new covenant. Come to find out, I actually introduced him to one of my friends. He created a new book. Anyhow, so we just had another conversation about God with me, Dan, and Ann just a second ago. And I said, man, if we didn't have those conversations those years ago, I'd probably have less I'd have much more anxiety. I'd have much more stress. I'd have much more discomfort in my life. I now, due to crossing paths on a morning walk and having deep conversations. Actually, I introduced Andy Hassan to Dan when Andy was down in South Florida with his family a couple years ago. And we also jumped right to the deep conversation of God. So there's a question I'll be sharing here that gives me that peace, that gives me that rest, that gives me that knowing that all is well, even when the proverbial and literal shit is hitting the fan in my life or in the world as a whole. And I'll share it with you in a second, but whenever plans don't go to plan, whenever surprises occur, whenever bad news crosses my path, whenever I'm crazy enough to jump into the news, which is negative energy without substance, that negative energy bombards me and can lower my energy, my frequency, my vibration. And I go back to this question. And so, regardless of who you are and what your walk with God is, or what level of study or research you've done in that endeavor, it doesn't matter. This question may help you as it's helped me. So, when I'm feeling not at the highest energy, frequency, vibration, when I'm feeling confused, when I'm feeling unbalanced, when I'm feeling surprised, shocked, sad, angered, I ask a question to myself as if it's coming straight from the creator of the universe, God, which is this: do you trust me? The creator of the universe. Think of this as a big game. Think of whatever your favorite video game is. The creator of that video game. They made the video game. They know all the ins and outs. And you're in that moment, but they're just smiling, knowing that there's more ahead. Keep on walking because you'll see what's waiting for you around the corner. So that's the game of life that we're here in. God, the ultimate architect, the ultimate creator, asking me, possibly asking you, if you consider this and apply this, do you trust me? So when you have fear, when you have worry, when you have doubt, when you have anxiety, when you have depression, when you have a lack of hope, picture the creator of all asking you, do you trust me? And think of me as a father. Think of you possibly as a mother or a father or a sister or a brother or a daughter or a son. Would you lead someone like your son, like your daughter, down the wrong path? Would you leave them abandoned? Would you leave them empty-handed? Would you leave them with no path but destruction? The answer, in most cases, would be absolutely not. Well, if that's us and we're not God, how much more would God look after us? So when I am asked by God, do you trust me? I have to remind myself, well, if the answer is yes, then why would I be anxious? Why would I be fearful? Why would I be worried? Why would I be concerned? I have the creator of the universe who just asked me, do you trust me? And if I have those feelings, the only answer would be no. But I don't answer it that way. I say, yes, I trust you. And it goes deeper. I can say, well, in this circumstance, I don't see what you see. Your ways are not my ways. I can't understand from my perspective why this would happen. I label it bad. I label it as that shouldn't have occurred. But for you, there are no accidents. There are no surprises. You know all. You are the architect of all, and you're aware of all. So the things that I would label as bad, that shouldn't have happened, that's terrible, that's a tragedy, was part of the plan, was architected at the creation of time, as we all were, as all moments were. So yes, I trust you. And with that small question, I find peace. I find rest. I find comfort. I find that my conversation goes deeper with God. And I go into further saying things along what I just said. Well, man, just from my perspective, this hurts. It's painful. It sucks. But I do trust you and I get it. I have to trust. I don't know what's coming up around the corner. I don't know what's next. So I'm going to pick myself up. I'm going to dust myself off and I'm going to continue to walk in this journey. I'm going to continue to tap into the conversation with you. I'm going to continue to trust in the creator of all and take the next step. What's not mine to do is nothing. What that's what's mine to do is not is something. What's mine to do is to take that next step. So I get up, I dust myself off. Man, I didn't see this coming, but I'm going to continue to walk. I'm going to take that next step. And with that next step, and the step after, and the step after, and the step after, I've found in most cases that quote from Napoleon Hill. So we talked about the Bible, but there are also many biblical references in what Napoleon Hill writes and many other personal development studies that we have all learned in these recent days and times. So Napoleon Hill wrote, morning, morning. Every adversity carries with it the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit. Every adversity carries with it the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit. So the bigger the adversity, the bigger the challenge, the bigger the shock and awe in that moment, in due time, you, like me, will probably look back on that and say, man, that time that really I felt my world was ending. I felt everything was over. I felt there was no light at the end of the tunnel. And if there was a light, it was a train coming to run me over. That was the biggest lesson, the biggest gift I could have ever received. I'm so thankful for many of those moments in my past that in the moment sucked. No way to sugarcoat it. It sucked bad. It felt like there was no light at the end of the tunnel. It felt like there was no escape. It felt like being doomed. It felt like uh, wrong. This shouldn't be happening. Woe is me. How could that person have done that? All those types of scenarios. But in due time, that quote from Napoleon Hill, every adversity carries with it the equivalent or greater benefit, in due time has come to be true. Take a look at your history and see if that's true for you as well. Now, that being said, when you're going through difficult times, that doesn't make them any easier, any less painful while you're going with them. It still can suck. And that's where you defer back to that first question, God asking you, do you trust me? Do you trust me? And you can say no, and you can try that route. And you can go to be the God in your universe and see how that turns out for you. I, long ago, learned from one of my mentors, Jeffrey Gitomer. Jeffrey says, one of the best things you can do, and by the way, this is when I met him 20 years ago, one of the best things I'd recommend you to do, Tom, because here I was a hard charger out of the Marine Corps a few years, number one salesperson, rocking, putting, workaholic, all this. He's like, I see you're a fixer, you're a doer. It also appears you may have the world on your shoulders. And what I'll tell you is, he said, from my personal experience, a long time ago, many decades ago, I learned it's best to resign as the general manager of the universe. And that, at the time, didn't really make much sense. I'm like, nope, I am the general manager of the universe. If it's going to be, it's up to me. I'm going to do it all. I'm going to fix it all. And that's just too much. When you resign as the general manager of the universe, and you can answer that question, do you trust me? From God, the architect, creator of all, you'll have rest, you'll have peace. You will continue to walk. That's the other thing. And I just had this conversation with Dan and Ann as well. A lot of people, and here's the funny part, a lot of Christians, so you're just going to trust God. Think about that. Coming from self-confessed Christians, not saying this in judgment, but when I say, hey, I'm walking my walk, I'm in tune. I talk to God on a daily basis. I'm doing what I feel is mine to do based on what's on my heart in each moment. I'm being fully present. And if God tells me, hey, turn left into this parking lot, that's odd. I normally go straight, but I'm feeling called to go left. I go left. I do what I feel is on my heart to do in each and every moment. I use discernment. But circling back to those friends who are Christians, so wait a minute, you're not going to do anything. You're just going to trust God. Well, I'm not doing anything. I'm taking one step after the next, continually tapped in and tuning in and talking to God, trusting the discernment that I have on my heart of what's mine to do, what's mine to think, say, and do, and doing that continuously, and improvising, adapting, and overcoming along that journey. So to say I'm doing nothing is 100% completely false. I'm doing more before noon than most people do in a daggum week. But it may not be what they want me to do. I really could care less of what anyone else wants me to do. I tap into my heart, which is connected to God, and I do what I feel is on my heart to do. Morning. I would suggest you consider doing the same. You can get input, you can get feedback, you can have roles and responsibilities. In the end, you are the one that makes the choice. Do you turn left? Do you keep going straight? Or do you turn right? Each and every moment. You can assess the information and use your discernment and make the choice confidently in that moment as to what you feel is yours to do. So anyhow, I felt that conversation was something that might be helpful, might be beneficial to you, asking yourself, especially in the most chaotic, interesting, bizarro world time that I've ever lived through, and my guess is that you've ever lived through, which is now the creator of the universe asking you, God asking you, do you trust me? As for me, my answer is yes. And I will pick myself up. I will dust myself off. I will continue to take the next step. I will make the discerning choices in each and every moment. Where do I feel my heart is telling me to go? And for many of you who remember, you may have heard my trip to nowhere to New York City, where I felt like going to New York City. It didn't make any sense. I drove 6 hours, got there in the middle of the night, crossed paths with my ex-stepfather in the middle of the street when he crossed in front of my car. He said, where are you going? I said, I got nowhere to stay. He said, I live around the corner. You can stay with me. When you have the boldness and courage to follow what's on your heart and take the steps, life will unfold in ways that will stupefy you, amaze you, and you will be able to answer that question from God, do you trust me, with a resounding yes. Hope this was helpful. I'm sweating my tail off. Time for me to bail out. All right, thank you. I can't even see. I gotta figure out how to get out of here. All right, hope that was helpful. I'll talk with you soon. Make today great. Go to maketodaygreat.com and do exactly that. Make today great. Bye for now.